Hello, nieces and nieces. How are you today? Welcome back to the channel. I want to thank you guys for coming back to the channel. I'm SavingsFashionista. And over here, we do mainly things fragrance, whether it's body or home. And today we are here to talk fragrances. And I want to share with you my January fragrance haul. So if you're interested in hearing about the things that I added to the collection, please stay. All right, so y'all ready to hear about the fragrances that we added to the collection for the month of January? So we started off with a bang. I want to start the year how I plan on ending the year. I really enjoy my fragrances. It's like my happy place. So it's always a good vibe for me when I'm adding new fragrances to the collection. Really enjoy it. So the first fragrance, it comes from a very familiar house. I have several other fragrances from this house, and this is from the house of Xerjoff. And this comes from the Cosmopolitan line. This is the Dolce Amalfi, and it is so good. This is a fruity fragrance. I heard Simply Aisha talk about how this smelled like juicy fruit gum, and I do agree. It smells like a spicy stick of juicy fruit gum. And I don't think that there are a lot of spices in this fragrance, but it is so good. It has keys and kinks, it has apple, and it has like this incense note, and maybe that's what's making me think that there's some type of cinnamon or something in here, but I don't think it's any cinnamon in here. But this is so good, and it is very long lasting. Very beautiful fragrance. So again, this is Dolce Amalfi from the Cosmopolitan line with Xerjoff. The next fragrance that I added to the collection is something that I've had on the wish list for a while, but I just kept putting it off. And I finally decided to go ahead and get it because it's something that I really want to enjoy and experience this spring and summer. And this comes from the house of Kilian, and this is Moonlight in Heaven. This is a unisex fragrance, and I do think it could go either way on a female's body. It could either go more masculine or it could be more balanced. It just depends on your body. And I have had a sample of this, and it was more balanced for me. But it starts off with a bergamot and a pink pepper note that is just so good. This is really good. Now, the only thing about grapefruit, you have to be very careful with grapefruit, because on the wrong skin or at the wrong time, it could just kind of like go sour. But I do think that this fragrance is well balanced from what I've experienced in, sample form. I do think that it's well balanced because it does have some sweeter notes like mango and coconut in it to kind of like balance the grapefruit out. But I can't wait to wear it and talk more about it with you guys. So again, this is Moonlight in Heaven by Kilian. All right, the next fragrance comes from a fragrance house. I've had one of their particular fragrances on my wish list for a very long time. But Lucky Scent sent over some samples of that fragrance and some of the other fragrances from their line. So after playing with the fragrances and playing with this one in particular, I decided that I could wait on that or not even have it, because I do have maybe 4 other fragrances in my collection that are very similar to this particular one that I wanted at one point, and I opted out to get something different. But the fragrance that I wanted to add was Peregrina, so I opted not to get that one because I do feel that I have fragrances in my collection that are very similar, not exact but similar. So what I decided to get was the Amber Room. And you guys, this was a blind buy because I don't have a sample of this. I don't think. I don't recall having a sample of this because I have quite a few samples from Thameen, and I don't have a sample of this. So this was definitely a blind buy. So I read the reviews, and I looked at a video or two, and most of the people who featured this were like men. So I was like, I don't know about this, but I'm kind of like getting out of the way of it's too masculine, because most of the time, if it's not wearable for me, my husband, he'll wear it because we're like operating out of the same fragrance cabinet, because fragrance is fragrance nowadays. But this is so good. It definitely has that Thameen rose in it, but it has some other beautiful notes in it, especially the amber that is in it. And it has some spicy notes in it. It is so good. And it has that coriander. This is good. So really been enjoying this. Actually, my husband wore this the other night. We both wore it the other night on a date night, and we both smelled so good. But it was mixed with other fragrances, but I have worn it in isolation, and I really like the way that this smells. So again, this is Amber Room by Thameen. The next fragrance is a fragrance that was passed over to me because someone purchased it and they said that it was just way too sweet for them. But this is a really nice fragrance, and it has been considered to be a dupe, and it is really, really close. So if you have not checked out my dupes and alternative video, if you would click the card above, you can check that out because this is featured in that video. And this is Khair from Paris Corner. Khair Pistachio from Paris Corner. The packaging is just so pretty, but this does smell very, very much like young pistachio. You get that sweet, airy pistachio note. It is so good. It wears well, is long lasting, it pairs well, and it's like a copy of young pistachio for a fraction of the price. I don't think that I would have ever bought this because I do have young pistachio. I'm actually on my second bottle, and I really, really like that fragrance. And I probably wouldn't have never taken a chance, but someone gave me this, and I'm happy that they did, because this is a great alternative for that. And maybe I won't use the second bottle up as fast as I did the first one. So again, this is Khair Pistachio by Paris Corner. All right, the next fragrance that I have in my collection, I remember about 1.5 years ago seeing the name of this fragrance, and I was like, oh, that's just so me. Honestly, it is. I wouldn't consider myself so much as the first adjective, because I do think that I'm just confident and not so vain, but I have been considered by others to be really naive in some point. So you already know what it is, and this is vain and naive, you guys. So I've heard quite a bit from other fragrance content creators about this fragrance, and it is so pretty. It has this musky powdery note in it. I think it's the jasmine, but it also has some fruits in it like raspberry and plum. But that jasmine and that musky note makes it smell very powdery in my opinion. And I do think that this is going to be something really sexy and fun to wear in the spring and summer months. But I'm thinking about giving it a spin during these cooler months just to see how it wears. But Nishane, that is a fragrance house that I do really enjoy. So I have added this to the Nishane collection. And again, this is Vain and Naïve. All right, now the next fragrance is a fragrance that I just saw over on TikTok. It was buzzing. People were saying they were glad that they got it. It wasn't here in the States. I'm actually wearing it today, and I can still smell myself. I smell so good. And this fragrance definitely reminds me of another fragrance that I have in my collection. And I haven't heard anyone say that as of yet. But this fragrance is from Swiss Arabian. And this is Shaghaf's Oud Tonka. Packaging is so beautiful. Beautiful packaging. Very just chic, simplistic, but I love this Tiffany blue. You guys, this is a good fragrance. Those almonds and that rosy tonka note that's in here, it is so good. I'm gonna tell you what this fragrance reminds me of. This fragrance reminds me of Velvet Tonka by BDK. Very similar to it. Smells a lot like it. You get that heavy powdery note, and it comes off as a little cherry. I don't know what it is about almonds that gives you like a cherry note. Maybe it's some from the same plant strain or something. I don't really know, but this is absolutely beautiful. The rose is very subtle, but it mixed so well with this, and it's good. Totally enjoying this. So good. So again, this is Shaghaf Oud Tonka by Swiss Arabian. All right, the next fragrance is a fragrance that I saw. I think her name is Tressie, But I saw this on her community wall, and I love her content because she is just so funny, but very realistic. Really like her content. I'm gonna put her name at the bottom. But she had this on her community wall, and it was a Sephora deal, and it was a really great deal. Now I already have the flanker to this fragrance, and I don't know why I bought the flanker before I bought the original, but that's the way that it happened. But I wanted to add the original because it was at a great price. So the fragrance that I'm speaking of, this is Mon Guerlain by Guerlain, and this is the original fragrance. And all honesty, they do smell very, very similar, but I can tell that the intense version is a little bit more richer and deeper than this one. And I do believe that they can be worn. This could be a signature fragrance, and the intense could be worn in the cooler months, and this one can be worn, the original one can be worn in the warmer months. So maybe that was the intent with creating an intense version. Who knows why they do that? But this is a vanilla lavender fragrance, and it is absolutely beautiful. It is definitely a pretty fragrance. The thing that kind of just like solidified me adding this, or the intense version, to the wish list, I was looking at one of Jeremy old videos, and he talked about how the Mon Guerlain is the signature wifey scent. So I'm like, okay, I need one of those, although I may have others, but I wanted to add this one from a male's perspective, and it is absolutely beautiful. So again, this is the original Mon Guerlain, and this was priced on Sephora for $50. I think it retailed for $80 or $90. So I thought that was a really good price. So thank you, girl. And the next fragrance is something that I've been wanting to add. I wanted to add this one before I added the one that I purchased before purchasing this one, and I was really just curious, you guys. People have said that it's supposed to make you think about someone that you miss, or someone that's no longer with us, and I knew that that wasn't true, but I still wanted to try it. So I finally went ahead and added this to the collection. This is Missing Person by Phlur, and I am happy about it, because what I do like about Phlur fragrances, they are non-offensive. They can be easy to wear type of fragrances, because a lot of them have, like, well, the two that I have a nice musky undertone. So this is definitely a musky fragrance. It has musk, white musk, and neroli, as well as orange blossom. And it's a nice fragrance. Really enjoying it. Do I think it's full bottle worthy? I think I would probably get the father figure before I get the Missing Person in full bottle. So those were the fragrances that I added to the collection this month. And if you added any new fragrances to your collection this month, please leave those below. If you've added something that you may think that's extremely good and I should give it a try, you can leave that in the comment section below as well. I want to thank you guys so much for coming back. I greatly appreciate each and every time you show up and support me. It means a lot to me. So do not forget, you, yes, you are great. Bye-bye.